every night is a loose one. And every flight, you know that I put the crew on. You say that I drop top, well then tell me what you done. Still in my winning phase, yeah, I've been away, are you entertained? Yeah. You guided me, that's what I'm constantly summoning. I love the climb, I don't care where the summit is. Funny when people be saying I peak, retire, my parents, they live at the beach.
Welcome back to the Grind and Shine Project. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Abbruzzese.
Nick Abbruzzese.
And so today we are going to be talking about processes and systems and how they've helped us along the way and how we can see the benefit within our own company and our own ecosystem, and how we were very reluctant in the beginning to adopt these things. We always thought that, no, we don't need them. What we're doing now works, but clearly it after adopting processes and systems, it just, we saw the error of our ways. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, really, to piggyback off what you said, what we're doing now works, and we were just like, eventually the guys will catch on and will catch on, and things will just work themselves out. But it doesn't always happen that way until we like set clear systems and processes and parameters in place to make them happen a certain way successfully. And
we actually did a presentation on this at a top contractor school event, and we thought it was, pretty valuable, and we got some good feedback on it. So we wanted to do like a condensed version here. So basically to get it started was before we had the current way of doing things, and this is not the final iteration of what we're doing. I would say that this is just like the beginning, and we're still going through like hammering out a lot of things. But before we started actually documenting what we do, there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of just confusion because we didn't know what we were doing next.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were coming up against. We had no set schedule. There was no way of tracking anything that we were doing.
Zero.
We would maybe go visit a job one day, and then 3 weeks later go to that job to start it, and it'd be like day one of going there, even though we were already there previously, but because we had no documentation of what we were walking into, and no systems and processes to really lead us to succeed day one.
Yeah, and I also didn't realize how much I enjoyed the documentation part of things, because when I realized when I would go to a job, I would start taking pictures and videos and everything like that, and then these things evolve. It's not like it's just a hard stop where you're at. Like we first we all started taking pictures, and then we'd send them to each other, and then we'd be like, like, where is that picture? And then we figured out where we can file these things and what we can do with them to make sure that everybody saw the stuff that we were doing. And then if, say, we're starting a job on a Wednesday and it's Monday, on Monday we all sit, we review everything, we make sure everything is good to go, and we have all the stuff needed, and it makes things so much clearer, so much more streamlined, and the pressure that you feel off of you is just so, it's like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, and it just frees up your day, really, of not having to answer unnecessary questions that they're necessary because people are confused, obviously, and there's questions. But it frees up your time of avoidable questions, I should say.
Yeah, layup questions.
All these layup questions are avoidable if you just have the right systems and processes in place. And we obviously had to learn that the hard way. It took longer than I would like it to have, but I think we got it down to a point where now there's really minimal phone calls for us and confusion when it comes to day one of a job for the guys if we're not on site, because of just going through the pain that we went through for so long and just not doing anything about it until we finally sat down and we just couldn't take it anymore. We're like, we need to set up a system and a process for walking jobs, and that's just one of them.
Yeah, and I think to get into it, so how we define, or how it is defined, that what is a system or a process. And a process to us is something that we can follow that's set out in a list or in a documented location that anybody can just like kind of pick up and follow easily. So for us, we have a few of these things, but if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I think our goal when it comes to systems and processes is we want to be able to have what we need documented so clear and concise that we would be able to hand it to anybody off the street,
Yes.
and they just pick up on, read the document, watch the video. Sometimes we do videos, and be able to just execute on what's needed to be done,
Right.
even if they have absolutely zero experience. We try and dumb it down and idiot-proof it as much as possible, while keeping it as concise and to the point as we can to make it simple and easy to follow.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like when we say dumb it down and idiot proof, it's because we are not that smart.
Oh God,
we
yeah.
just and and what made me think of that was the amount of I heard recently somewhere that there's like two ways for people to learn. One is through other people's experience, and the other one is through your own pain. And we are definitely most of the time on the latter end of that. We are like learning through our own pain and just ramming our heads into the wall and like, there's got to be a better way. And then boom, there it is. Even though we've seen it in books a whole bunch of times, like sometimes it just takes that pain to push you through it. And then you want to make sure that everything is so simple that, like Nick said, it's easy to follow for anybody.
Yeah.
And from here, we were able to, build a little bit of momentum. And I would say that the number one, and getting back to the layup things, is like you start there, because the number one thing that I think we always get on all of our LinkedIn posts, Instagram, all that kind of stuff is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I can't imagine the logistical nightmare that you guys go through in Manhattan. And we have worked through that for years and years and years, and we've made it a point to make it as simple as possible, because it is a logistical nightmare there.
Yeah.
How many times have we gone through? It's terrible.
We just did it. The last 2 weeks dealing with a project that we have going on in one of the most prestigious, if not the most well-known building in the city.
Yeah.
Where our guys were 20 minutes out from the job site, and the GC called us and canceled on us because the building had an event taking place and told the GC no work for tonight. Actually, it was no work for tonight, 20 minutes before we were supposed to start, and no work for the next 2 weeks because this event is going on for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I'm sure that was a well-known thing for a while.
I feel like there was a system that wasn't followed.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, and
Yeah.
information gets lost. But with 20 minutes notice, obviously now we have to pivot and try and find a spot for the guys for the night to obviously make sure that they don't lose a night's work. But it just kind of throws you off because, everything is set in place. All the guys are in place. All the equipment is on its way. Everything is set up, and now it's just last minute cancellation. And when everything was already in place, we're on to the next thing, thinking about maybe tomorrow or the next thing that we have to tackle. But then we get hit with that gut punch, and it kind of throws our whole day off because now we have to give all of our attention to this immediate fire that's happening.
Yeah.
And it just kind of it definitely jostles you around, and it's mentally exhausting. But that's just a daily basis in New York City.
And
All those questions are so valid because it is every single day. There is always some kind of hiccup with New York City.
And I think that by having the systems and processes in place to mitigate at least the layup questions, when a fire happens, you're able to focus on the fire, and you're not having to focus on all of these other little things, because we have a lot of jobs that start at the same time. So everybody's starting to get there at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night and everything like that. So then once you have 5 jobs that are all starting at 5 p.m., and one of them has a fire, you want to make sure that the 4 other ones are at least everybody's going to be able to get in. The delivery driver's going to know where to go. Yeah. All the foremen know exactly what to do, because if God forbid, all of a sudden one of them has a fire and then the other 4 need attention, just for little layup questions, oh, how do I get into this space? What's the laborer's number? All this kind of stuff. You have to have that laid out, because if you don't, then you're never going to be able to. You're going to be stressed out of your mind, and you're all your guys are never going to know what to do.
Yeah, And I think that's a good point. Like by having the simple layup questions and systems and processes documented, that's all squared away for us, and it allows us to handle the quote unquote fire of cancellation
Right.
a lot better because we know the other jobs that are going smoothly. Everything is, all of what we need taken care of is being taken care of, and we can give our full attention to this situation. And so we just, obviously that type of stuff is out of our control.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just need to focus on controlling what we can control, such as having the guys show up, having the guys know exactly what to do, what's at hand, what are we doing? Are we doing concrete polishing? Are we doing epoxy? Are we doing, any kind of different flooring? Like just knowing what is going on, so that they can properly attack the job at the right pace.
And also knowing who's doing what too when they get there. This person has this, the helper grabs the broom, starts sweeping everything. They have their process for that. The mechanic is he's starting to set up all the machines, starting to drag out all the cables, get everything going. The foreman is looking at the blueprints, making sure everything is lined up. He's spray painting out everywhere he has to go. Everybody has their own process, and all of our guys follow the same exact thing. And just to be clear, too, this is not just like a field thing. It's just easily relatable to us. You can have a process for anything. Your
office
human
work,
resources, office,
warehouse.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, our warehouse guy has processes, too.
Yep.
So, do you want to get into some examples of a process, or?
Like for us, speaking in terms of New York City, we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but if we're doing, let's just say, a job at the Empire State Building, right? If we give the address to the Empire State Building, 350 Fifth Avenue, right? That's it?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. So many addresses.
I can't remember.
I think that's the address. At least that's the one we use. The loading dock for the building could be on a completely different street than the actual front door of the building, which is where the address is. So actually, I think that is the loading dock address.
I think it is
think
too.
of it, because I think what is it on 42nd?
I can't remember, even though we were just there.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
This is why we said when we say idiot proof, it's not because our guys are dumb, it's because we are dumb.
Yeah, to be clear.
Or, as Alex Ramosi would say, to reframe that, in the past, we have made dumb decisions.
Yeah.
We are not dumb. I don't want to lock us into that. Sorry, that was a little inside Alex Ramosi joke if you follow him. But my point being is, if you were to give the address to a building in New York City, most likely it's the front door of the building. And being in construction with heavy equipment and tools and a truck needing to roll equipment in, we cannot go through the front door.
No.
Literally, some of these buildings are so tight on security, they won't even let you walk through the front door if you're wearing work boots, because
You're a contractor.
they treat you like a second
Second-rate citizen.
yeah, what is it, second grade citizen?
Second-rate citizen.
Yeah. Second class citizen, I think is what I was thinking of. So we have to then actually document where the loading dock is on another street, which is usually around the corner of the building. So that, for us, that was like, I think that's pretty much where we started, because we would tell guys to show up to, the Empire State Building, and they would go to the front door. And we were like, no, guys, we're not supposed to be at the front door. And then we're like, okay.
That's on us.
That's on us. That's our fault. We did not properly tell them the proper address. While they are at the right building, they are not at the right location, which is a block away, actually. So that's definitely, I think, where we started. We started, documenting where the loading docks are, because again, there's confusion there.
Yeah, and it actually it made a lot of people upset too, because when we were there, and you would be on the phone with them, and you'd be like, okay, no, it's right around the corner. It's on this, whatever. And
look for me down the street.
Yeah.
Look right.
Yeah. There's a little door, and it's like you're in Manhattan. There's a little door everywhere.
Yeah.
So you get to the point where you're just like, let's just make a little checklist and have these things with like maybe a picture or a video or something like that. And these things do not need to be this wild, extravagant, like thing. They just have to be something to get you going on paper, and just have it laid out for the guys to follow.
Give them a reference point.
Give them a reference.
So they're not walking in blind.
Yes, exactly. Because the last thing you want is a call from anybody. That's like, even like the worst is when the worst calls that we get, for me anyway, is when like one of our foremen would call up and he'd be like frustrated, not knowing what to do, what's going on, where, like he's all confused. And that is where we learn. We're like, we owe it to these guys to be better and to do different things to make their lives easier.
Yeah, and that's obviously just one side of it, which is very frustrating, and you want to avoid that at all costs. But without the proper documentation, having the guys being confused, they're in the wrong location, they don't know where the job is. I mean, within literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of our start time, if we're late because of the confusion that's going on, emails will start flying around. Yeah. Where are the flooring guys? Where are the guys? They're supposed to be here. Why aren't they here? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Because it's just a chain reaction. They have the fire watch. The smoke detectors are offline. They're paying a laborer usually to stay after. They're paying the elevator guy to stay after. So, those, it was the confusion, that the gut punch for us, and the headaches of our guys being confused and frustrated at us. And then on top of that, dominoing into the GCs and the building being confused and mad at us also. Like, where are you guys? Why aren't you here? Yeah. So it was just like, all right, this needs to change. Yeah. This hurts, and this needs to change.
Yeah. And the other end of that, speaking of the building and everything like that, now when we go on a job and we're looking at it and we go through our system of looking at it, how professional do we feel having all of this stuff in front of us, in our iPad, whatever it is? Like, we're asking the right questions. We're asking for blueprints. We're asking for where the water source is, where the electric is. We need this. We need that. Showing all of this, that. And then, like, I get compliments all the time from people that we do work for saying, I appreciate that you're taking your time and all these pictures. Some guys think it's a joke in there, and they're like, "Hey, what do you need all this for?" Like, some people don't get it, but the people that appreciate it really appreciate it, because that means that they don't have to worry, and they know that things are going to be under control. It really sets a tone for how the job is going to go in the future. So yeah, I would say that's a big benefit right there. Just actually setting the tone for what this is how we do things. We're up here. We don't accept anything that's like lower, and we want to make sure that everything right off the bat is completely within our information sphere, and we're able to just get going as soon as we get here.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just one example. Obviously, the TCS room that we hosted was an hour long or so. Yeah. So yeah. These things, little things like that, just drastically helped us on our day-to-days and the guys, and it just improved morale. You think of it as not only improving workflow, but it actually improves morale too, because the guys are like happy showing up to work. They know they have all the information that they need to be successful for that day. And they're happier. They're not starting the day pissed off and frustrated.
Yeah, because they don't know what the hell's going on. You go in there and you're like, okay, so here's a job, and we're gonna grind the floor, and we're prepping this area for carpet, and we're doing self-level for LVT over here, and then we're doing concrete polishing in this area, but they don't know anything, because there's no plan, there's no video, there's no nothing. Yeah. And then when you're able to go there, the guys feel good about what they're walking into. Yeah. They don't feel like they're walking into the dark.
Right, and they're mentally prepared. I mean, they know what they're walking into. They're ready, they're primed, so to speak, and they get right to it.
Yeah, and again, I think in wrapping this up, I want to make sure and make it abundantly clear that we do these things for, one, the benefit of our guys always, and two, we learn to do them from the pain of not having them. Yeah. So being on the other side and getting our feet in dipping our toes in the water, so to say, about systems and processes, it's so much better than the other way.
Yeah.
I would say it's 10 times better than the other way, 100 times better than the other way, because you're able to relax when jobs are going on. You can handle the fires when they happen because you know the other stuff is systematized and you're good to go. And you know, it's just better.
Yeah, and you know, sitting down and actually creating the SOP or whatever it is time consuming and it is annoying, and you're like, you don't want to do it because you're like, I already know what to do. I don't want to do this. The guys know what to do. But by sitting down and actually doing it and putting it to paper, video, whatever it is, will just save you on the back end so much more. And we're still learning that. There's still so many things that we're not sitting here like we have everything documented perfectly.
Yeah.
There's still so many things that we should have systems and processes on and for. But it is that initial like, I don't have time to do that right now. I just gotta
keep pushing it off.
Yeah, just keep pushing it off, and because there's other important things to do. But if you just muscle through that, grind through that, put it in place, document it, it will save you on the back end so much.
Well, think about the ROI. You're investing. You're investing. Let's just say you have three things that you really want to document and have a process for. You sit there for an hour and a half each thing, and though that 3, 4, 5 hours that you're there is going to save you so many hours,
hundreds, thousands,
hundreds of hours up on the back end. So the ROI is ridiculous on something like this, and we didn't see it until we were on the other side of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anything else?
No, I think that's good.
So, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Grind and Shine project. We really, really appreciate all the feedback, all the viewers, all the listeners. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you can, please share this out. It really helps us, and we want to get the message out there. We want to provide value to as many people as we can. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time.
And one last thing, if you want, if you have anything to ask as a question, like anything, how we do things in New York City or how we operate as a family business, let us know. Drop a comment, because we'd be happy to talk about what people's questions are and what they have.
That'd be great. Yeah, if you ever see a clip or whatever, like if you're watching the YouTube video, all of these go on YouTube. So if you ever see that, put it in the comments on YouTube, put it in the comments on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we'd be happy to make a video and podcast about it.
Happy to address it. So
thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you.